One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the evening show. Today we are going to have a little bit of fun, then a little bit of seriousness. We're going to jump over to Rumble to handle the seriousness part of things. We're going to be talking about some child trafficking stuff that's been going on. I've got some videos to show you, not those kind of videos, but people talking about it. And then, we usually do that. It's 7 o'clock. Right about 8 o'clock or so, we should be doing that. First, I got a couple stories for you. As you saw the thumbnail, want to talk about something that everybody seems to be talking about and emailing me about and sending me direct messages about. And maybe it's time I actually say something about it, but not in a way that you think. There's a lot of people out there. I'm not going to insult anybody because there's a lot of people out there right now who really like Candace Owens. And there's a lot of people out there who loathe Candace Owens. And I personally am just quite indifferent. I'm a marketer. My entire life has been based upon advertising and marketing. And I understand what I believe is happening. I told you guys before what I think is happening. I think, personally, you want my opinion right now? My opinion is, well, put it this way. How many of you tune in and watch wrestling? Since I was a kid and watching Andre the Giant and the Iron Sheik and Rick, all these guys, Macho Man Randy Savage, I realize there are a lot of people who go to wrestling, and there's a lot of people who go to wrestling who think they're watching a real event. Unlike, MMA, where we're seeing people getting pounded, wrestling, hope I'm not breaking ground here and ruin your fantasy. Wrestling is fake. Now, I don't mean that the slams and the throws and the way they land, and no, you can get injured. Those injuries can be real. but the entire thing that you're watching is entertainment. It's not meant to be real. It's meant to be an escape. The unfortunate part is many people watch wrestling and they feel that wrestling is actually real. I remember way back when I was in high school, and me and my boys went to wrestling one day, and I was just sitting there, you got to be kidding me. And he goes, man, these guys are great, man. They're just professional athletes. I'm like, they're actors, but they're not athletes. They're in great shape. They're very athletic, but they're not like athletes. And we got into a big argument. Well, suffice it to say, that's what I think we're seeing right now. I think we're seeing a lot of cosplay, a lot of pretend, because pretend, as I mentioned last week, sells. It sells a lot. There's a lot of money in professional wrestling, a lot of money. It's one of the most watched shows on television. It's almost like the NFL is turning into it. You can't sack a quarterback anymore. Why? Because people pay to watch the guy throw long passes. And if he gets hurt, they don't want you tuning in to watch a sub play. So they are protecting quarterbacks and turning the NFL into professional wrestling. I don't know if you guys know this, but when they first started doing the games overseas, the people in the stands were clapping at weird times and nobody knew why. Well, the people overseas are used to seeing soccer, football. And when the guy would kick off to start the game, they'd all start yelling because, ooh, they didn't understand what they were watching. All they knew is that looked pretty cool. He kicked ball. He kicked ball far. And so I'm not going to take a side in this. I just want to explain once again. The National Enquirer has made a lot of money for a long time telling you about two-headed boys being in Girl Scouts or something, whatever. That stuff sells. People can't look away. I remember when I was in college, there was a movie out that was actually very violent, but people couldn't look away. How many of you guys and ladies, maybe when you were younger, saw the movie or heard about the movie Faces of Death? Faces of Death was like one of the worst, most violent movies you'd ever want to see, but at the same time, it had a cult following of people who couldn't look away at what they were seeing on screen. It made people sick, but they kept looking. Like, is that bear really eating that guy's head? Yeah. Then, of course, I mentioned in my, when I talked about this whole Candace Owens thing, I talked about the movie Men in Black. And you saw the movie Men in Black, and what did? They pulled up the National Enquirer and put that as a part of the movie. And so we've been checking this out for years. This is how we've been tracking the aliens. So that leads me to today. I think you know where I'm going, but I'm going to go there anyway, is especially right now. So, as you know, Candace has been out there saying all kinds of things, all kinds of crazy stuff. None of it has been proven, but then again, none of it has been disproven. So I'm going to give her the benefit of a doubt as well. And all along for the last 3 months, she's been constant, just bringing it, hammering it. And she's getting hundreds and thousands of views. Like I said, craziness sells. It's contagious. People can't look away. Even people who realize they might be being sold still can't look away. And she's arguably making a crap load of money serving up to that audience. Just as well, the people on TPUSA, since Charlie met his demise, have been doing the exact same thing, but differently. Let's not kid ourselves. We're talking about lots and lots and lots of ducats. When after Charlie met his end, they said something like 20,000 new chapters. And then there's been multiple tours where TPUSA has gone out to keep going in Charlie's name and making money the whole time. And there's been podcasters who have gone to the events and spoken at the events. And so it's become a huge cash cow. Just the entire aura around what happened is making a lot of people a lot of money. The reason I'm bringing this tonight is because stop emailing me and stop DMing me. And if anyone wants to know how Barry feels about the TPUSA Candace Owens thing, this is it. So don't at me, don't go crazy in the comments, because I'm Switzerland here. I don't have anything in this fight. I have no dog in this fight. Here's TPUSA, here's Candace. I'm just trying to tell you what the hell's really going on. You can take it from there. So today, for the first time, the very first time, people from TPUSA decided they were going to respond to Candace Owens. And what did they do as they responded? Well, if you haven't seen this, they issued a challenge. They issued a challenge for Candace Owens to come and debate people at TPUSA. Basically, they threw down a gauntlet and having a battle royale. We might as well just go ahead and put that on pay-per-view and just watch this debate between the people at TPUSA and Candace. And you imagine how much money this event is going to make for all of the parties concerned. It's masterful marketing. I don't know who came up with it, but it's masterful because so many people are going to get sucked into it, which is fine. If your choice is to watch something, Faces of Death 2, then watch Faces of Death 2. Stop emailing me about it because I recognize what I'm looking at. So here's was the response today by TPUSA.
We wanted to use this segment at the top of this hour to say something important, something very important. For the past 2.5 months, there is a topic that has flooded our Freedom inbox. It has been nonstop on social media, but which we have almost totally avoided on this show. You probably already know what I'm talking about, which shows just how ubiquitous it has been.
See, I have one problem right off the start here. Don't tell me that this stuff may not be scripted while I'm watching somebody read a script. You know, if somehow Candace or somebody was taking a shot at me, one, I'd ignore it. I don't care. Well, Barry, we've seen you with little boys. I don't care what you say. I didn't do it. Ain't gonna happen. And number two, if I was gonna confront you, I wouldn't need to be reading a script. I wouldn't need to be picking up something and going, so for the last 3 months, Fred has been talking crap about me. And as Fred has been talking crap about me, I want to let you know I'm over it. Now, what that sounds like to me? What that sounds like to me is that somebody's gone to see a lawyer. Somebody has gone to say, what can we say, what can we not say so we don't get in trouble? Instead of just saying what you got to say. You're on a podcast, arguably one of the biggest podcasts in the world, country, talking to the other person who's on arguably the biggest podcast in the world, and the two of you don't need notes. If what you're saying that there's aliens and people from France coming to kill you, and if over here you're saying you've had enough, just say it. Why are you reading? Marketing.
Ever since Charlie's murder, Candace Owens has leveled a flood of allegations against people at Turning Point USA, people at Turning Point Action, and people who work for this show. She has made them against some of Charlie's closest friends and against some of his most dedicated employees. She has suggested that Michael McCoy, Charlie's chief of staff, knew Charlie would be murdered, was happy that he died, and stayed silent because he was told he would be the next Charlie. She has suggested
You're verifying the gig. By you reading this line by line in a chronological recapping of the situation, you know she's sitting back there going, this is going to be good, huh? Oh, this is more. You're amplifying the situation. If you wanted it to stop, you don't tell the kid who's calling you fatso that it's bothering you. Hey, fatso. Well, if you get called fatso once in a while, maybe just smack somebody upside the head. I ain't got to read anything. Hey, Four Eyes. Think about it. When you're younger, it's like people might call you names and say something. You got bad breath, and your mom wears army boots and all kinds of stuff. The ones you pay attention to are the ones that you decided you're going to take a swing at. And I don't need any notes to say that. Unless, of course, I've gone to a lawyer, and the lawyer's like, make sure you itemize this, and paragraph 7 needs to say this. And, no, man, if you're pissed off and for 3 months somebody's been poking you, poke that bear back. I'm using the word bear instead of something else. You get my point. If you were truly upset about this, I ain't got to read no notes.
Michael is not his real name. It is. I have seen his birth certificate myself. She has called it suspicious that Mikey's wife, who works at Turning Point, helped plan the campus tour event where Charlie was murdered, which she didn't, by the way. She doesn't work on campus events. Candace has suggested the Utah Valley University event was unusual and its details suggested a, quote, inside job. She has claimed that foreign aircraft have followed Erika Kirk around the country and that Turning Point has lied about this happening.
Dude, how about getting in front of the microphone of one of the biggest podcasts out there and say, hey, Candace, right here, okay? Right here. That's all you had to say. Everything you're saying is full of crap, Candace. We got nothing to say to you. Let's move on with the news of the day. Nope. I'm going to read all this prepared information that everybody already knows. Instead of just saying, these nuts right here, jump on them. Nope. You're going to play the game.
Has accused us of lying about Charlie wanting Erika to take over for him if he died. She has suggested Charlie's security team intentionally denied him first aid after the shooting to ensure that he died. She has raised suspicions about the head of our technical team because he took an SD card out of a camera. She has spread absurd claims that Tyler Boyer, who we just had on the show, sexually abuses male interns. She has suggested that TPUSA faith-affiliated pastors, like theologian Frank Turek, who we'll have on in a moment, and Pastor Rob McCoy, are part of a military, quote, infiltration of Turning Point, either because they are veterans or because they have family members who are. Even if not everyone has been named specifically, though, Candace has effectively tarred everyone here with complicity in Charlie's death by repeatedly saying he was, quote, betrayed by, quote, everyone.
I've seen some of the comments in the chat, and they're like, hey, you're being kind of hard. I'm not being hard on Kansas. I'm not being hard on TPUSA. People emailed me and said, what do I think? I think that this, number one, doesn't need to be played out in public. I mean, there's many people I've had a problem with. That's what they make these things for. It's very simple. Hey, you're an ass. So are you. And if you don't stop, we're going to have to do this. And I don't care. I don't have a dog in the fight. As a person who talks about what's in the news, that's why I'm bringing it up. Because the fact of the matter is, at this point, the more outlandish something is, the more it sells. And so I don't know. None of us knows. People getting mad in the chat. You don't know. I saw one person say that she's onto something because the government's dragging her feet with this. What government? See, just by the fact that somebody said that in the chat, that the government is dragging their feet on it, what government? This happened in the state of Utah. Charlie was not an elected official. He was not a federalized person that we know of. The federales in Utah would have to, along with the FBI, do whatever you got to do. And so I don't know what people are saying, that the authorities that haven't done enough. I'm going to ask you a question. What do you know that they have done or not done? And why do you think you're entitled to the information. I look at it that way. I look at it that the only two people who seem to be battling back and forth are TPUSA and Candace. If there is truly a hit squad from France getting ready to come down on Candace, I'm pretty sure it would take just a little bit of an inquiry into the government to say, is this true? Notice that we've heard a peep until tonight about that. I'm going to show you that response in a little bit. So, right now it's like two kids in a schoolyard fighting. That's how I'm looking at it.
She has said Charlie's murder, quote, had to be approved by Charlie's friends, and then suggested those friends might have her murdered too for, quote, knowing the truth. She has made claims of financial impropriety and fraud at Turning Point, adding up into the millions of dollars, which, again, is not true. Charlie made sure the organization was audited by a third party every year. He personally reviewed and he signed off on every expense report, and literally every single bill paid by the organization down to a single United States dollar. We have never missed a 990 deadline. Candace has made other stranger allegations involving French paratroopers in maroon shirts, Egyptian Air Force planes flying out of Provo, Utah, and potential underground assassins traveling through unseen tunnels. At one point in early November, she started wildly throwing suspicion on members of Utah Valley's soccer team for wearing hoodies. I could go on. There is always something new coming up, and none of it ever pans out because from the start, there has been nothing there.
So, again, he's reading a script. He's going through line by line and saying, there's nothing there, there's nothing there, and nothing there. I've never known any reason to comment on stuff that doesn't exist. So then you have to believe at this point, what she's been doing has got under somebody's skin, and they're pissed off and they're freaking out because maybe it's affecting chapters. Maybe Erika doesn't like what she's saying. Who knows what the reason is? The fact of the matter that you felt you have to address it is now put it into the forefront over again. I didn't talk about this because now before it was just her talking. Now these guys are talking. And now they're going to go back and forth in a tennis match. I didn't buy a ticket to this. But nonetheless, we're all here watching the carnage occur.
The attacks and allegations from Candace are either lies or they are innuendos thrown around with a total, reckless disregard for the truth so that Candace can manipulate and string along an audience of people who don't realize they are being played. Instead of being able to grieve properly after one of the most heinous murders in American history, a murder many of us had to witness, my friends have had to endure harassment from people who have gotten whipped up by what Candace is saying.
Again, he's reading all of this. And I don't understand. I would be able to say, hey, listen, Erika's been distraught. She hasn't been able to grieve properly. She's upset by all this. It's hurting our business information, how we handle business. But it's not because we keep seeing the events, so you can't really say that. It's kind of hard to cry, it's tough on us while we're having events around the country and things are going so great. Maybe her personally, maybe with the kids. But now with this dude, what was the need for this? Well, it's coming up.
In fact, I would say we have suffered more harassment from these people than we have from Antifa supporters who overtly celebrate Charlie's murder. And just like a lot of those Antifa members, many of these people take this delight in how gross and unpleasant they can be. What our friends have had to endure is not funny, and it's not insignificant. It is evil. I have seen it. For months, we have received hundreds, thousands, I suspect, emails and calls asking us to respond. People have wanted us to invite Candace on the show. But for a long time, our approach was to say nothing. We did that for several reasons. First, we thought that her prevarications were so absurd that nobody would believe them.
All right, so number one, if you think what she's been saying is so absurd that people won't believe them, and that was one of the reasons why you didn't respond, what changed? Did it now become believable? Are people believing it? And do the people who do believe it matter to you? See, that's the other side of the coin. Doesn't matter to me. Who believes it? If they believe it, why does it bother you? I don't know.
Have to answer questions about secret tunnels or Egyptian Air Force planes. That sort of thing is just, it's beneath contempt to respond to. The second reason we've said so little, though, is because there's a good rule of thumb, which Charlie followed. Do not feed the trolls. Focus on the mission. Reviving America, uplifting young people, making heaven crowded.
Okay, did that change? You've got two reasons why you didn't do it before. The second one is you don't feed the trolls. Let's make heaven more crowded. Okay, did that change? If you consider people trolls, we see them all the time. SV and the mods just blast them into the ether. It's not even worth responding to. I used to respond, and I would get spanked by Ashley and Robin, like, you stop wasting your time talking to people who don't want to talk. If someone is attacking you like they would in a chat, it literally, one button, goodbye. You don't have to engage. So something happened where now all of a sudden you do want to feed the trolls. Say it.
Don't give air to people who want to tear you down and sow discord. Lastly, we didn't respond because Charlie always viewed Candace as a friend, and we were holding out hope that she would return that friendship and stop what she was doing.
All right, so the three things that they said before that they weren't responding to, they must have changed. Now the last one was, hey, she was a friend, and we thought eventually she would just stop. But then 1 and 2 still remain. So if she's no longer a friend, she is now a troll, and why are you responding to a troll? Why not just let her go? We all have friends that are no longer friends. We all have business associates who are no longer business associates. The parting of the ways didn't go well. There's got to be a reason why now you've decided to respond. And there's got to be a reason why that response was predicated and scripted to the point where you had to say it this way. I've watched their show. It doesn't have a lot of scripting to it. They just talk. So this is kind of out of the norm, which caught my eye. It's like, hey, I often watch your show and there's 2 or 3 people on the panel and you're jovial and talking it up. I never seen you guys read something before. And it caught my eye. I'm like, why is it this time you're reading? Why didn't you just bring the whole panel out and go, Candace, she's at it again. And, we're not even going to dignify it with a response. But instead.
But a week from now, it's going to be 3 months since Charlie's murder. Candace has not changed her behavior. She has continued to spread falsehoods about Charlie's friends, and she continues to concoct new ones about new people. She's using these falsehoods to enrich herself while dividing the conservative.
Put it this way. So are you saying that if nobody was watching, if she didn't have 100,000 concurrent viewers, if people weren't tuning in to hear it and sopping it up with a biscuit, and she was making a lot of jack, if that wasn't happening, then it would be okay? You see, that was something that piqued my interest. Oh, she's got a lot. She's making a lot. She's enriching herself. So what? We all enrich ourselves. We all do what we need to do to make some money. That bothers you? Oh, she's making it off of his name.
Conservative movement at an absolutely critical time for this country. And far too often, we here have heard from ordinary people who loved Charlie and who Charlie loved so much in return. These people have expressed the worry that we are staying silent out of cowardice or as some sort of tacit admission that some of the attacks are true.
Do you feel like you're watching Mean Girls in high school? Ooh, she's saying bad stuff about you. You guys better respond. You're looking like weak. You're looking like, cowards. We're talking about grown-ass adults here. We're talking about grown-ass adults who look into a camera with a microphone. Take a take a page from the book called Trump. What I'm going to tell you right now is my problem. Is that all of this in the periphery, the Tucker, the Nick Fuentes, the Candace, the TPUSA, who else is out there? A couple people on Rumble, and Mark from, what's it called, Rasmussen. Everybody's trying to make money instead of just, hey, we're all MAGA, right? We're in this together. You don't see this on the Democrat side. You didn't see AOC or anybody, or what's her name, Jasmine Crockett, talking about the crazy girl that lost yesterday. No, we got you, girl. Everything's good. It's only on our side are we seeing the splintering, where other people are trying to up one another, instead of just, hey, why don't we just follow the mission? Why don't we just follow Trump and do what Trump says? Why don't we just make sure that no matter what, we show up to vote, that we promote Trump-backed candidates? Why don't we make sure that the Democrats don't get in power anymore? Why don't we make sure that they don't try to splinter us off and put us all in encampments? What in the hell are you people doing? Everything you're talking about right now will not matter, not even this much, if the Democrats get back in power. If the Democrats get back in power, Candace won't have a show and you won't have a show. Doesn't matter what happened to Charlie. They don't care. They are going to work to shut you up. They're going to work to shut me up. They're going to shut up Megyn Kelly. What in the F are you people talking about? You spent, we still got 4 or 5 minutes. You spent all of this time talking about a dust-up between you two, and you're not talking about Maduro. You're not talking about Venezuela. You're not talking about what the Democrats are trying to do with Trump. You're not talking about the judges. That's what gets me hot. See, I might have fooled some of you guys because I saw some of the comments. That's what the problem I'm having is, why are there so many personalities who are putting themselves above the movement? Charlie's not responsible for MAGA. Candace isn't responsible for MAGA. Tucker's not responsible for MAGA. You are. And all this does is take your eyes away from what we should be concentrating on. In the grand scheme of things, as I said earlier, with people talking about arrest and everything else, what the hell do these two parties do anything for your well-being? I created my show to try and keep a group of people keep their eye on the ball. Don't look at all this other stuff. It's all a distraction. All we need to do is keep our eye on the ball. I'm not saying you shouldn't have your opinion, but have your opinion, but realize, I got to do this. I got to stay here. Yesterday, President Trump had to get on television and everywhere else and say, get out and vote. Can you get out there? Why were these guys not talking about that? Why wasn't there a script? Hey, if you're in Tennessee, get out and vote. That's my problem.
Neither is the case. Our silence has never been, and it will never be, equal to complacency or approval. Still, we decided Charlie would not allow this to go on. Charlie was not a coward. Charlie was a fighter. Charlie would not allow someone to spread lies about the people closest to him with impunity, and he would feel ashamed if other people were stepping up to defend his friends while he never did so himself. Candace has mentioned several times that the ball is in our court. So here's what is going to happen. In the near future, there will be a live stream here in Phoenix where we address in a clear and comprehensive way the claims and accusations, the false accusations that have been made against Charlie's family, friends, and the people here at Turning Point.
All right, so now here comes the hook. You know, when you have your call to action, you have to have a hook before the call to action. What do you want to do? Well, I want to get people to buy this, click here, or do that. You know, you could have ended it right there and said, you know, Screw her. She's done. We're not paying any more attention to her. No, we're going to have a big event. You're going to call Don King, and we're going to have a big-ass, live stream. Want to prove this isn't about money? You want to prove to America that this has nothing to do with money? Turn off all ads. Don't accept any donations. Very simple. Very simple. One button. Nope, we're not going to take any money for this. We're going to have this live stream where we're going to do something to get people to tune in. If this is a personal beef, why do you got to tell us? Because she responded, and the only reason I'm not showing her response is because I don't know her policy on showing things that she says. And so, I know their policy. I don't know Candace's policy. But at this point, you're promoting an event. You're not settling a beef. You've called Don King.
We plan to walk through everything carefully and thoroughly. If Candace is available, we would sincerely welcome her participation in that live stream at our studio here in Phoenix. At this point...
Sorry, that's Midas. I have no problem telling you my streams are monetized. I do this as a way of source of generating revenue. There's no secret. You might see an ad in a second. You're probably going to see a Lear Capital promotion. Midas, shut up. But just say that. But I'm not here to just clear the air. I'm here to tell you what I'm seeing in different news. They're having a special event specifically to have Candace on so the two of them can sit there and talk and clear the air, as they say. How much money do you think that's going to make?
We believe the ball is back in her court. Our motivation for doing this is not out of any obligation to Candace.
I'm looking in the chat. Listen closely. Listen very closely to what I'm going to say next, or if you don't, you can leave. People are saying, well, don't you make money, Barry? Abso-friggin-lutely. I've got sponsors, we have ads, and I am completely open about it, and I'm not taking a grievance challenge and putting a grievance challenge on for dineros. That's the big difference. This is supposedly to clear the air. That's what it's all about, he says, and now Candace has accepted. So we're going to watch a battle royale, some of us, I won't be, and on that battle royale, if it was just about clearing the air, you're going to find out very quickly about 2.5 minutes into said battle royale.
It is about honoring Charlie. We feel a deep responsibility to protect his legacy, his work, and the truth. I feel that. I owe Charlie everything in my life. I feel it immensely. And that is why we feel compelled to speak clearly and openly now. We'll have more on this in the near future.
Yeah, okay. So as Rush Limbaugh used to say quite often, it's time for a obscene profit break.
It's genius. It's pure genius. America is the country that started the AI race. And as President of the United States, I'm here today to declare that America is going to win it. We're going to work hard. We're going to win it.
Why do so many financial experts call silver the most undervalued asset today? Because silver is essential to the future, from solar tech and electric vehicles to the explosive growth of artificial intelligence. Demand is rising fast, and yet silver is still trading at a bargain. With billions pouring into AI, silver prices have only one place to go, and that's up. In fact, silver may be the most overlooked asset class in financial planning. The opportunity for silver is well documented. The market for silver could double or even triple by 2026. You see, I believe in hard assets like this bar of silver. You can hold it in your hand, you can put it in your IRA, you can put it in your home safe, and relative to gold, it's very affordable. That's why I urge you to call my friends at Lear Capital and get their free report. the AI revolution and see why silver prices could be set to soar. Call 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. But don't wait. We all know. We've seen it. The government can print lots and lots of dollars, but they can't print silver.
So contrary to what Candace Owens is saying, who's spending her time trying to tear down the legacy of Charlie Kirk, fighting against Erika Kirk, his wife. I mean, you have to be cruel and demonic to insinuate the things that she has insinuated over the past several weeks. She's evil. That's what it is. And a big hand clap goes there. Don't get shy on me tonight. I ain't the one. I came too far to play around. It's evil. It's corrupt. It should not take place. She sounds like a jaded person who wish they were in the role that Charlie Kirk's wife is in, but she isn't. And so therefore she seeks to tear down his legacy. And at some point, her husband is going to have to walk into that podcast room and start unplugging cords. I mean, by now I would have already done it if it was my wife. I'm yanking cords, I'm shutting down the camera, shut down the ATEM. Sweetie, get up, get out of this room, and can you please help out with the kids? Because this is a dastardly deed that is being done. I thought that the greatest foe that we would have to contend with after the assassination of Charlie Kirk would be the left. But sadly, it's friendly fire from the right. I'm moving on.
That's John Amanchaku. I've had him on the show a number of times, and I won't go as far as to say either party is evil or demonic. I think it's very simple. It's ducats. And, you know, SV texted me during the break here, and he said that he has deleted and banned probably 36 people. How can I say this? I know how I can say it. You see, one of the things I have a problem with is I don't want to tie into the crazy audience. I don't want to work with people or have the people around who are toxic and poisonous. Toxic and poisonous to the point where they don't like hearing other perspectives. Those people are not going to help MAGA. Those people are not going to be people that help Donald Trump move forward. There's a different disconnect with them. They need to have this chaos. I don't need chaos in my life. I know they'll get booted, and I'm sure they'll downvote the video and everything else. There's a reason why I opened with this video instead of the other stuff we're going to get to. Because I don't want crazy in my life, especially in Christmas season. I don't want to cater to crazy. There's a lot of money in crazy. I told you that to start with. The whole thing is about crazy. People don't like being confronted with the truth. Facts scare some people. You're being used. You're absolutely being used. If you sop up this stuff with a biscuit, you might as well go watch professional wrestling. It is 100% entertainment. That's what I'll call it. Let's continue.
Absolutely. I'm Kingsley Wilson. I'm the press secretary here at the Pentagon. We're in the Pentagon briefing room, and it's been fantastic. Get to come to the Pentagon every day, and now you all do as well.
Yeah. So this is my first question, and don't laugh. Does the DOW have any evidence at all of a French military plot to assassinate Candace Owens?
That is an interesting question. Not that I'm aware of, but, you know, interesting question. I can try to find out and maybe let you know. I think that might be more of a law enforcement matter, though.
She laughed. She laughed. And that'll piss some people off. Oh my gosh, she wouldn't even acknowledge that the Europeans and Russians are coming for Candace. I told you many times. I've told you. Did you watch the movie Goodfellas? Have you watched anything? Born Identity, all these, they don't call you and tell you. and you're not going to find out. Oh, I have found out, and I've dug in deep, and I'm sure there's people in Black Hawk helicopters, and they're coming out to try and kill me. How would you know? The only thing you'd see is something, oh, boom, if you saw it coming. It's insane. Let me just tell you, the President of the United States, Putin, Maduro right now, there's all kinds of people wondering and hoping that there's not a little red dot coming against them. They're not going to waste their time on a podcast or in their living room. I hate to break it to everyone, but neither of these two sides is that important. And especially TPUSA, because Charlie's not there, and there just seem to be fragmenting as well. But Candace isn't that important. Doesn't move the needle in world politics. Nobody's going to worry about whether Maduro should go to Qatar. Candace says so. No. There's a lot bigger things out there.
There's a lot of conversations that are happening behind the scenes with prominent personalities in the independent media space, libertarian, conservative, et cetera. And I spare drawing people into drama. That's why I'm not going to call anybody out. But I've been talking to a lot of people, and I've mentioned this over the past week or so. Everybody knows that views right now in politics are in the gutter.
Okay.
All right. So Tim's about to tell you what this is all about. Because right now, it's the doldrums of the internet. The only thing that people are doing right now extremely successful are selling stuff, whether you have an e-commerce store or something getting ready for Christmas, or you talk nutty. Because most of the stuff right now, especially if you are not a Trump-oriented channel, there's nothing really to talk about. And then over the next couple weeks, it's going to go down. In fact, what I tell you is that, hey, I'm not doing Saturdays and Sundays anymore unless in case Trump gets something up his butt and he wants to come out and do something on a Saturday or Sunday. Why? Because there's nothing to talk about. It's very simple. Hey, cabinet meeting? Nope, not this weekend. Is Mike Johnson doing a press conference? How about, nope, gone. And as we get closer to Christmas, it's going to be quieter and quieter. Hopefully we won't have any attacks, if you know what I mean. But other than that, it's starting to slide into the end of the year. And we all know it. How do we know it? Because we've got data. And data says, hey, listen, every November, there's a little bit of a valley. And in December, there's a little bit of a cratering. And then it comes right back in January. Everybody knows that. You ever work in a bar? You ever look at a par sheet? A par sheet is how many bottles of vodka do you need to keep into the supply room? How many bottles of rum do you need to keep? And you can go back in and say, oh, last year at this date, we went through 25 bottles of vodka. We got to make sure that we order 27 just in case. I worked at Disney. I was a GM on Pleasure Island. Our data there was amazing. We could type in the same date. So today is December 3rd. I could look at December 3rd for the last 10 years. It would tell me what the weather was like. It would tell me what countries are coming, what we can expect. And then you, at the end of the night, when you're putting in the money, you're like, damn if that projection wasn't right on. And then it would spit out you were 2% off or 4% off or 2% over or 6% or whatever it is. You knew going in, I had to hit this number, and based on previous December 3rds, this is what we're looking at. So none of this is by accident. If anyone is telling you they don't know what their numbers are from the previous year, then they weren't in business the previous year. I don't care whether you're selling tires. I don't care whether you're selling hotel rooms. I don't care if you're seating people in a restaurant. If you've been open for any period of time, you can go back and look at your data and go, I'm not going to schedule 6 servers because last year, December 3rd, things weren't too hot here. So let's just bring in 2 or 3 servers. Tell me I'm wrong. Any of you who worked at a restaurant, you know what I mean. I don't like to bring people in and then cut them. That's a waste of the people's time. Hey, listen, I thought we'd be busier than it was, but now I got to cut you. Go ahead and go home. Oh, thanks, idiot. I could have been, it's Friday night. Why'd I have to come in? because you couldn't manage your stuff correctly. That's why I had to come in. Any of you who have been in any sort of retail business, anything where there's data, you know what's going to happen in November and December. And so, Tim's right.
Candace is doing very, very well, though.
Right.
And I think, look, if you want to get my professional marketing assessment of this, you take a look at some of these prominent personalities, and I don't want to denigrate, so I'm not going to name them, but guys, I'm telling you this right now, go on YouTube, pull up whatever conservative personalities that you've heard of, and look at their view count, and you'll see they've dropped dramatically. You'll also see Candace is doing pretty dang well. The conversation behind the scenes, everyone knows why. It's exactly.
We all do. See, now I'm watching people go, I'm out of here. I'm not listening to this anymore. I understand it. I knew you would. I knew that either you'd leave or SV would get you to leave because you don't like facing facts. Facts are kind of tough for some people to swallow because it means they fell for the gig. You ever see the movie Glenn Ross? And in that movie, Kevin Spacey messes up a big sale for Al Pacino. And he says, you don't open your mouth unless you know the gig. And then he goes off on it. We all know the gig. We all understand it. The people who don't are the ones who get pissed off and don't want to hear it. See, when you brought truth, you have one or two different options. You can accept truth or you can defy truth. And if you defy truth, you're wanting to stay on the blue pill side of things. You don't want to hear truth. You're the ones, and I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about the ones that leave and stuff like that, is because I don't care about the opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But maybe perhaps you'd want to see some of the information that goes on behind the scenes. I don't know.
As you've described. If people always need the next level, we've talked about this in the past about how they call Trump Hitler. It starts with saying, Trump is bad. Then Trump is racist. Then Trump is very racist. Then he's the most racist. Then he's almost as bad as Hitler. Then he's as bad as Hitler. Then he's worse than Hitler. Because if they write the same article, Trump is racist, nobody clicks it.
Nobody clicks it. If I just said this or that, nobody clicks it. But if I say the Russians are after me, if I say the French are after me, if I say the French and the Russians are after me, if I say the French and the Russians knocked on my door, I don't even have to prove it. I can just keep selling the click, which is another term, sell the click. I'm giving you a transparent view behind the scenes on how this stuff works. You can choose not to listen if you want, that's fine. But I'm talking about this tonight, not because, again, I'm taking any side, not defending either one, is I'm tired of people asking me about it. And I bet you after tonight, nobody's going to ask me anymore. I can guarantee you that. No, I won't get any more emails.
So they got to give you it's the hit's got to get bigger. You don't feel it anymore. Behind the scenes, everybody is pissed off because they're like, I wish I was as evil as some of these people where I can just lie to get the views. But if you make a video where you're like, Marjorie Taylor Greene resigns, here are my thoughts. Everyone knows, bro, everyone knows Marjorie Taylor Greene's resigning. So why are they going to watch you over anybody else?
Marjorie Greene is resigning because she's having a two-headed love child from Eric Swalwell. Oh, let me click on that. Marjorie Taylor is resigning because she's actually a man, and I have the details. Oh, I'm going to click on that. Do you know there's actual courses and gurus that'll tell you how to make a thumbnail, how to make a title, specifically to get people to click? Because the more people who click, then you got to try and keep them watching, and then if you keep them watching, you make more money. It's no different than an NFL game. You watch an NFL game and it's like 30-0 in the first 10 minutes. I'm not watching this. I know how this is going to end. You're a Miami Dolphins fan. Last week was the best game because the Dolphins, although they won, took us to the last single minute. We had to watch the whole damn thing. CNN, and I told you this, CNN, MSNBC, a lot of the podcasters on the left, they say the most outrageous things possible to get you to click. And then they get you to share it. This is the payoff I'm having for you. If you want to talk about Jennifer Welch, if you want to talk about Joy Reid, don't share what they say. Don't put that out in the ether. You can clip it, and then you own that, not own it, but you can then repost it if that's what you want to do. I do videos here where I clip it and I show them, like I'm doing right now, that I won't share, because if you share it, the other person is going to make they're going to make money on clicks. I know sometimes people don't like to see how the cookies are made, but this is what happens. The sausage is made this way.
As more people enter the space, and we're at the back end of a political year, which was this year is ending, and it was a non-political year. Views are going to be in the gutter, revenue is going to be down, and people are going to be feeling it. You got two choices. Stay true, dance with the ebb and the flow. Next year's midterms, views will start increasing for political content. You got three choices. Pivot and try and do non-political stuff, cultural stuff that may be of general interest. I think we've tried doing that quite a bit throughout the past several years, knowing this cycle. So that's why some of our videos, like Solar Storm videos, like 200,000 views. But we've always had those guests on. Your third option. Roll with it, baby. France wants to kill me. There's an Israeli in it. The White House knows. I'm fleeing, and then
he spun those three things so easily because we all know it. What I'm giving you is a peek behind the curtain, and some people can't understand that there is a man behind the curtain. There is a guy who's like, I'm the great awesome Oz. Nobody gets to see Oz. We all go to the bathroom the same way. We all put our pants on the same way. There's nobody who's any better than anybody else. You've built an audience, you've built a following, and you try to provide that following what they've come for. And you continue to do that until all of a sudden you start looking in your analytics and you're like, hey man, things are really slid off the table. And you panic because the money is so good and you've done so many different things and committed to so many different projects that all of a sudden, if the money is not the same, you're stuck there going, I need to find a way to generate more money. Two-headed baby, who's Eric Swalwell's love child, is going to sell. And instead of, as Tim said, just stay true. Just weather the storm. Just say, listen, it's a slow time. It'll be back next year. Once January comes and people start going their way to do their campaigning, it'll keep going. God knows President Trump's out there giving you as much content as you possibly want. He's just going to keep going. He's not going to rest. You don't need to go there. If you want to stay the course, stay the course. Absorb the effect of the holidays, or just enjoy the holidays. Have fun with your family. Have fun with the people who do watch. Don't cater to the people who want to be nuts. So the intended effect can work both ways. You can either make a bunch of money being crazy, or you can just talk to the people you talk to every single day and you get the nuts out of the way. I choose that. I choose to make sure, people are going to come in, they're going to leave. I want to talk to that core group of people who are MAGA and want to stay behind President Trump and want to see this country saved. If I had to give you an objective as to what my objective is, and the primary reason for this channel is that. I know right now, as you should know, not about Candace, not about TPUSA, none of that. What you need to understand is that President Trump, if he does not succeed, America goes down the tubes. Pure and simple. I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, nor the desire to cater to insanity on either side. So let's just get back to the basics being, let's see what we can do to make America great again, which is why we all came together anyway. Isn't that why we all are sitting here right now? Because you are a Trump supporter and you want to make America great again. You want to do what you can possibly do to help President Trump make America great again. So why don't we just take it on our own and go, blocking out the crazy, focusing on the mission. That's what I'm all about. And I'm not going to bring up Candace or TPUSA anymore in terms of their beef, because it doesn't matter to me, and it really shouldn't matter to people who want to see America be great. Pure and simple. I'll be right back.
Hey everybody, Barry has a couple things to let you know about. Fanfare is giving away a free fishing trip. We're going to fly you and a guest down to South Florida for a 3-day, 2-night getaway. You'll go on a deep-sea fishing trip with Robin. And Barry and Robin will take you and your guest out to dinner. To enter to win, go to fanfareshop.org/fishing. It's easy and it's free to enter. Second, if you'd like to join our private group on X, go to fanfareshop.org/group and join 18,000 fellow patriots. It's a safe space for patriots as it's curated and moderated. Again, that's fanfareshop.org/group. One more thing, if you'd like to be a part of the show, submit a 60-second video by going to fanfareshop.org/submit video. Last, but certainly not least, if you'd like to request a free Bible, please go to fanfareshop.org/Bible. We have a long list, but we're getting them out as soon as we can. Again, that's fanfareshop.org/Bible. Thanks for being a part of the Fanfare family. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, so let's talk about something that is actually important. You guys made it this far. You didn't leave. Let me put some meat on the bone here for you. All right, so General Michael Flynn posted this earlier. He said, "Massive breaking news. All Americans must grasp the gravity of this moment and what this deposition-like letter below means for the future of our republic. It is that severe of a warning, an actual warning being rung by General Flynn. We cannot allow China or Russia or major international Islamic terrorist networks to own beachfront property off of our southern border. Trump's actions to date have been sound, but given this new information, President Trump must do some new soul searching with key members of his team." Remember, he's pretty sure that Michael Flynn's got President Trump's number, so this is for our benefit. This blockbuster op-ed comes from a career spy at the top of the Venezuelan regime, where he served as the former head of military intelligence and in the National Assembly for nearly a decade, General Hugo Carvajal Barrios. In it, he describes how U.S. diplomatic and CIA officers were paid to assist Chavez and Maduro to remain in power. He also describes how the election software Smartmatic, developed in Venezuela, is used to alter elections. Quote, "This technology was later exported abroad, including to the United States." This letter is a strategic warning from a man who spent decades inside the command structure of a hostile foreign power. Carvajal confirms that many of us have been stating repeatedly, that the Maduro regime functions as a fully integrated narco-terrorist apparatus conducting an unconventional campaign inside of and against the United States of America. He details how Venezuela weaponized cocaine in coordinated operations with FARC, ELN, the Cuban intelligence, and Hezbollah. How it built and exported violent criminal networks like Tren de Aragua into the United States, how its intelligence services infiltrated American institutions for more than 20 years, and how Smartmatic was developed, quote, to keep the regime in power forever. Carvajal now states that President Trump's policies were acts of essential national defense and that he is prepared to provide further classified details. We as Americans must demand more transparency about the role of rogue deep state elements inside of our own national security system who have been or currently protecting the Venezuelan regime and have been for decades. Enough is enough. All right, so what you're seeing right now is the dissemination of information that ordinarily you wouldn't supposed to hear. The egg is being cracked, and they're showing you everything that's inside of it. And it's one of the reasons why President Trump, at this point, I say, has been so tough on these people. And what he's been saying and how he's been saying it is specifically to tell these people, screw off, we're coming after you. I got a little thing I want to show you here. This is like 2.5 minutes that I want to bring to your attention. So let's listen to some of this right now.
Every president for the past 2 decades,
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was President Trump. No. This is Joe Biden.
Democrat and Republican alike, has declared war on drugs. And each of them has lost that war and lost it miserably. They lost because they attempted to deal with only part of the drug problem. They lost because their initiatives were pulled apart by bureaucratic squabbling among their advisors. They lost because they always did too little and they did it too late. We don't oppose the president's plan. All we want to do is strengthen it. We don't doubt his resolve. All we want to do is stiffen it. The trouble is that the president's proposals are not big enough to deal with the problem. We think we should do more to stem the flow of drugs across our borders, and we think we should go one step further. Let's go after the drug lords where they live.
Huh? You want to, take them out? What happened in, 40 years? That was in 1989. Joe Biden was saying, let's go take them on. And now, today, you've got the Democrats basically doing, and Rand Paul, I guess it's one and the same, are doing everything to stop President Trump from taking on Venezuela.
With an international strike force. There must be no safe haven for these narco-terrorists, and they must know it. We have to lock up the dealers for a long, long time, and we have to attack the source from which the drugs come.
I'm sorry. I'm having a little bit of a conniption here because we were told this isn't supposed to happen. You're not supposed to go after the bad guys. The bad guys are the good guys. The good guys are the bad guys. 1989, huh?
And we have to do that not a piece at a time, but all at once. And we have to do it now. And there's not any reason why we can't do that. We have the power, we have the money, and we have the knowledge.
Imagine my surprise when I heard that, and then I read this. This is, at the time, it was breaking news. Tim Kaine, Rand Paul, Chuck Schumer, and Adam Schiff filed a war powers resolution to, quote, block the use of U.S. armed forces to engage in hostilities within or against Venezuela unless authorized by Congress. So you can go ahead and look this up. They're trying to do everything they possibly can to stop President Trump. Why? This is what you stood for. How all of a sudden now you don't want President Trump taking on the bad guys?
Every boat we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives.
That's right.
And if you look at our numbers, the drugs coming in through sea are down 91%. I'm surprised there's 9%. You want to? I don't know who's doing the 9%, but it's down 91, and we're going to start very soon on land, and I'm sure you're thrilled.
Right, that was from today. You heard him say it. We're going to start pretty soon on land. And that caused the Democrats to go absolutely bat poop crazy. They weren't listening to Candace or TPUSA. They heard what Trump said, and we got to stop him. I don't know what they're doing about Candace. I don't know what they're doing about the Turning Point. They're like, we need to stop President Trump before he does anything. Why? Why are you so worried about protecting narco-terrorists?
If it is found that survivors were actually killed while clinging onto that boat, should Secretary Hegseth, Admiral Bradley, or others be punished?
I think you're going to find that this is war, that these people were killing our people by the millions, actually, if you look over a few years. I think last year we lost close to 300,000 people were killed. That's not mentioning all the families. Have you seen what happens with the families of not only the people killed, the people that are trying to get their son or their daughter off of this poison that they've been fed? I think you're going to find that there's a very receptive ear to doing exactly what they're doing, taking out those boats. And very soon we're going to start doing it on land too, because we know every route, we know every house, we know where they manufacture this crap, we know where they put it all together. And I think you're going to see it very soon on land also. Yeah, please.
So to be clear, you support the decision to kill survivors. after the
No, I support the decision to knock out the boats, and whoever's piloting those boats, most of them are gone, but whoever are piloting those boats, they're guilty of trying to kill people in our country.
See, that's a president who takes it directly on. So are you okay that, like, you know, with killing survivors? Yeah. Yeah, they're the bad guys. What do you want me to do? Bring them here and have some sort of trial? No, this is war. So I'm going to show you something in regards to the War Powers Resolution. So as you hear the narrative being put out there, you know the absolute truth. I want you to know what the truth is. All right, let's look at the War Powers Resolution. The War Powers Resolution of 1973 is a U.S. law that limits the president's ability to commit armed forces to conflict without congressional approval. But there's a little bit of a caveat here. It requires the president to inform Congress within 48 hours of deploying troops into hostilities and without a declaration of war or other congressional authorization. The forces must be withdrawn with 60 to 90 days. The resolution was passed in response to presidential actions during the Vietnam War and other conflicts. All right, 60 to 90 days in today's atmosphere, we're done. It's over. Hey, listen, we're going to fly B-2s, stealth bombers, over to Iran, drop bombs, and come home. Look, there's nothing to do. It's over. See, they're going to make it seem to you like he can't do anything without telling them. That's complete hogwash. He's got 60 to 90 days. And by then, I think every single one of you knows it would be over. Let's look at further. Key provisions. Reporting requirement. Within 48 hours of introducing U.S. forces into hostilities or situations with imminent involvement in the hostilities, the president must report to Congress in writing. Now, I want you to understand what you're seeing here. I got a report. I got to tell you, hey, we're dropping bombs on Venezuela. Okay. The consultation. The president is required to consult with Congress in every possible instance before committing forces. Automatic withdrawal. Without a formal declaration of war or congressional authorization, U.S. forces must be withdrawn after 60 days. So I got a 60-day get-out-of-jail card here. We're going to go in, take care of business. We're going to let you know within 48 hours. Oh, let me go back up to that 48-hour notification. Within 48 hours of introducing, you got to let us know. The president must report to Congress. I consider myself being able to read and have vocabulary. Do you see anything in there that says in 48 hours you got to get congressional approval? Nope, doesn't say that. The approval comes afterwards. The president is required to consult in every possible instance before committing force. Automatic withdrawal without a formal declaration or congressional authorization. U.S. forces must be withdrawn after 60 days. And then you have the optional extension. The 60-day period can be extended for an additional 30 days if the president certifies to Congress that it is a military necessity for a prompt withdrawal. I'm sorry. Does it say that Congress has to give him authority? No. But you would not know that just from looking at what people are saying. When you look at what they're saying, they are saying that you have to give the Congress notice. That's not true. You're going to hear it on television. You're going to hear it all over the place that he has to do and has to get congressional approval. No, he doesn't. That's not how this works. The War Resolution Power said you got to notify me. That's what you have to do. SB just said me President Trump posted something. What did he post here? I'm looking to see which one just posted. Where is this one? Oh, 8 minutes ago. All right, here's what he just posted. Hit the button. The sleazebag governor of Colorado, Jared Polis, refuses to allow an elderly woman, Tina Peters, who was unfairly convicted of what Democrats do, cheating on elections, out of jail. She was convicted for trying to stop Democrats from stealing Colorado votes in the election. She was preserving election records, which she was obligated to do under federal law. She has now served more than a year in jail, has 8 years to go. On top of everything else, she is a cancer survivor. This lightweight governor who has allowed his state to go to hell, Trende Aragua, should be ashamed of himself. Yes, she should be free. So I just wanted you, SV, thank you for that notification. I just wanted you to be aware, as you're going to begin hearing about everybody talking about the War Powers Resolution, to know for yourself what the War Powers Resolution actually means. It means, Congress, go pound sand. I'll see you in 60 to 90 days. And by then, I'm pretty sure our military could wipe Venezuela off the planet. But they won't have to. This came up, which is very interesting. Marco Rubio floats Qatar exile for Maduro as Trump weighs strikes inside Venezuelan waters. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has reportedly floated allowing Maduro to relocate to Qatar as the gas-rich emirate helps mediate the conflict. 3 current and 2 former administration officials described the scenario as plausible. Sources close to the administration: Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and UAE love to do stuff like this. It helps build chits with the U.S. All 3 compete against each other for the ultimate affection of the United States. A source familiar with Qatar insisted it is untrue that Maduro is fleeing to Qatar. Trump spoke with Maduro last week and told him to step down immediately. Maduro counter-proposed handing off to his vice president with broad amnesty for himself and his allies, and Trump said no deals. No deals. The next escalation under consideration: striking alleged drug boats inside Venezuela's territorial waters up to 12 nautical miles offshore. Trump at yesterday's cabinet meeting, anybody that's doing that and selling it into our country is subject to attack, not just Venezuela. Colombia is now on notice too. A decision is expected later this week or early next week. So all this is moving very, very fluid. And you can see the chess match that's being played right now. And if this is to be believed, Maduro is basically trying to negotiate his parachute. Where am I going to land? Where can I go without you just destroying me or my family? So I just wanted you to know that absolute truth. If people start talking about the wartime resolution, that they're completely full of crap, and I'm pretty sure you're going to begin seeing that as well. All right, so I'm going to do Super Chats, and then we're going to jump over to Rumble. So I want you guys, if you want to jump over there, you can go right there. I haven't jumped over in quite some time. When we jump over, we're going to be talking about a more important subject than Candace and TPUSA. We're going to be talking about missing children. John Rich put out an amazing video for a song that I debuted for you on the channel here quite some time ago, and I think it's pretty good. It's really good. The video is amazing. The song by itself was amazing when we first heard it, but now I love this video that he put together. And so if you want to jump over there, you can get ready to go to on your screen. All right, so let me talk to you guys. Get ready to get over there. And I sincerely hope you understand where I was coming from. I don't want to deal with crazies. It drives me crazy dealing with crazies. So I just don't want to see it. I think we have a bigger objective here. I think we have to really look at helping this country and getting people focused on the right thing. We're talking about TPUSA. If we're talking about Candace, we're talking about Tucker or Nick Fuentes. And I'm like, what? That's not important. What's important is that we move forward together. We got big, big problems in this country. We have a number of people who want to take our country down. Why the hell would I spend time on nuttery? I'm sorry, that's just how I look at it. All right, so let me do the Super Chats and we'll jump over. Karen, he makes it sound like a laundry list of excuses. I agree, if you're innocent, leave it alone. Don't care. Tinley, if anyone's surprised about Candace now, don't be, since she's always been doing this for a decade. Look up the terms internet blood sports. Boom. CRR, thank you, Barry. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. I guess that's the most important thing, right? Michael Sparks, thank you. Chris, I know this is your bread and butter now, but a real estate prosperity short show would be a welcome change. I like your old videos on investment properties. Well, then you will like to, tomorrow's Thursday. Friday, you're going to like it. Tomorrow, I'm interviewing the mayor of Boca Raton here. We're going to be talking about real estate, and I'm going to put that in the show for Friday. So stay tuned. Where am I? Petty, I'm still waiting on what President Trump is going to do about the filibuster. The Dems are planning on shutting down the government in January. Yep, you remember that whole thing has to happen all over again with the continuing resolution. Nicholas, thank you, Barry and Mods. Went on Rumble on my iPad. Thank you. Shari, where'd Shari go? There's Shari. The reason it matters is because they're saying to build a movement with the youth, and the youth today are such sponges, can't let it happen. MAGA needs them. Well, I would tell them the truth then, instead of dealing with the drama. Leona Harris, thank you, Mr. Barry, for the info on bearskin. Oh, great. I ordered raincoat and jacket, both beautiful colors, all the pockets. I don't need a pocketbook. Thank you. Very good. They're a great company, and I love having them. So that's the link we're going to be jumping over right now. When I see you on the other side, we're going to be listening to John Rich and his new song. So let's go ahead and do the break. Is that working?